guys, let's start the tour. But before we start the tour, I want to tell you guys something. I have 2 wishes. I have 2 wishes for each and every one of you. My first wish is that you all enjoy the tour. And my second wish is that you're all able to hear the tour. So I ask you all kindly, please keep your voices down, because the person standing next to you may be trying to hear the tour, which is what you all paid for. Let's look to the left side of the boat. Please look to the left side of the boat. Here on the left side of the boat is the beautiful Brooklyn, New York. The beautiful Brooklyn, New York. Number 1, do not leave New York City before you visit Brooklyn. Brooklyn is the hot spot. Brooklyn is the place to be. More tourists are living in Brooklyn now than ever before. Before the Brooklyn Bridge was built in 1883, Brooklyn was an independent city. If it was still an independent, more language than any other city in the USA. Island with rolling hills, and in those hills the Dutch discovered 2 Indian tribes, the Lenape tribe and the Iroquois tribe. These 2 Indian tribes hated each other, but for the first time in their existence they finally agreed on something. They agreed that they did not want the Dutch on their land. They fought with the Dutch for many years. When the Dutch could no longer bear the fighting with these 2 Indian tribes, they built a wall. I'm talking about a different wall. Stay with me now. They built a wall. The wall went from river to river. The purpose of the wall was to stop the fighting between the Dutch and these 2 Indian tribes. However, what the Dutch did not know, while they were building the wall, the British were coming. That's right, the British were coming. Once the British arrived here on the island, they made peace with the Indians. After the British made peace with the Indians, they bought the island from the Indians. And guess what's the first thing they did as soon as they bought the island? That's right, ma'am. They tore that wall down and named that empty space Wall Street. And that's where the name Wall Street comes from. Everything that you're looking at here on the right side of the boat is called the Wall Street area. But we who live here in New York City, we have another name for this area on the right side of the boat. We call it the Canyon. And the reason why we call this area the Canyon is because the streets are very narrow and the buildings are very tall and very close to each other. So it's just like walking through a canyon of concrete. You're looking at Concrete City. That's a line from Alicia Keys' song. Hey guys, guess what? You got it. In America, if someone says guess what, you say what? Guess what? Guess what? New York City of islands. We have a total of 42 islands here. On the right side of the boat is home for me, the island of Manhattan. Brooklyn and Queens is a part of Long Island, and then there's Staten Island. These are the top 3 islands. And then we have 39 other islands. We have Liberty Island, which is where we're headed. We have an island for our prisoners called Rikers Island. We have an island for our dead called Potter's Field. We even have an island where you can take it all off and get some sun. A total of 42 islands. The Bronx, New York, the notorious Bronx, New York, home of the New York Yankees, is the only part of New York something that is not island. Bronx is the mainland. However, of all the 42 islands, there's one island here in New York City that is a very prestigious island, a very special island. If you look to the left side of the boat, ladies and gentlemen, please look to the left side of the boat. This is directly to the left here, is Governor's Island. Governor's Island was a military island for over 200 years. It was first occupied by the British Navy, then by the U.S. Navy, and last by the U.S. Coast Guard. If you look at the end of Governor's Island, you'll see a round brick building. In the late 1700s, early 1800s, cannons would stick out with windows. That building is called Fort J. If you look at the very top of Fort J, you can still see one of the original cannons. That cannon is over 300 years old and it still works today. Visit Governor's Island. Please look to the right side of the boat. To the right side of the boat. Here on the right side of the boat, you're looking at the Hudson River. The Hudson River is the longest running river in the state of New York. But that's not what I want to talk about. I can go on and on about the Hudson River. But look to the other side of the river. There on the other side of the river, you're looking at New Jersey. Jersey is also known as the Garden State. I want to make a suggestion. I want to make a recommendation for you all. For $2.75, you can take a 10-minute train ride over to Hoboken, New Jersey. Hoboken, New Jersey, I promise you, is one of the coolest little places. Hoboken, New Jersey. New Jersey has something that no other city in the world has. New Jersey has something that no other country in the world has. As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, New Jersey has something that every city in the world wish that they had. And that's another reason why I think you should visit New Jersey. Why are you guys looking at me? There's something you want to ask me? What'd you say? It's a view of New York. What's up, Declan? How old are you? You're only 7 years old. Give him a big hand, guys. Very outgoing. Hey, Declan, guess what? You see all these people here? They come from all over the world, and now they know you. You're almost famous. Welcome, Declan. She was an immigrant that came to this country on a ship. She was only 13 years old, but somehow she found herself on the very first ship of immigrants headed to Ellis Island. When that ship got to Ellis Island, this little 15-year-old girl named Annie Moore was the very first immigrant off the ship, and Annie Moore was the very first immigrant to become an American citizen on Ellis Island. And she went on to live a wonderful life in this country. But after her came 12 million other immigrants, and not all were so lucky. Here's what happened. Ellis Island opened in 1892. As soon as Ellis Island opened, the ships started coming from all 7 seas. When a ship of immigrants would arrive to Ellis Island, the very first thing the immigrants would do is have a medical examination. If you were blind, if you were deaf, if you could not speak, you were not welcome into this country. They would mark the backs of the immigrants' clothes with white chalk and send them to the end of the island, coming up here on the right side of the boat. You'll see buildings at the end of the island with white paint on them. During this time, the immigrants called Ellis Island the Island of Pain. They called Ellis Island the Island of Tears because not all people were welcome into this country. But those immigrants that did pass the medical examination, those immigrants were sent into the building where you see the 4 points on top. There is where they would have their first meal in America, and from Ellis Island they were free to go wherever they pleased in this country. 12 million immigrants came to America through Ellis Island. I have a question. You guys ever heard of Charlie Chaplin? Charlie Chaplin was an immigrant that came through Ellis Island. You guys ever heard of Albert Einstein? Albert Einstein was an immigrant that came through Ellis Island. Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra's mother and father were immigrants that came through Ellis Island. Donald Trump. Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America. His mother was also an immigrant that arrived to this country on a ship through Ellis Island. Donald Trump's mother had a dream. She had a wonderful, healthy, positive. Trump's mother had the same exact, wonderful, healthy, natural, positive dream that all mothers around the world still have today. A dream of a better life for themselves and for their children. Am I correct, mothers? I thought so. Visit Ellis Island, ladies and gentlemen. Go to Ellis Island, you sit down at one of the computers, and you put your family's last name into the computer, and you just may find that someone from your family history also came to America through Ellis Island. And if you have beautiful chocolate skin like me, don't bother. That's not how we got here. Is it? Sorry. A young Frenchman, a young French artist. His name was Bartoli. He is the creator and she is his masterpiece, and he did not name her the Statue of Liberty. She is the most famous statue in the entire world, and her name. Are you listening? Only 3 of you are listening. Are you listening? Her name is Liberty Enlightening the World. Her name is Liberty Enlightening the World. She has a crown on her head. The crown has 7 points. The 7 points represent the 7 seas of the world. In her left hand, she holds an iPad. A couple of you are listening. That was pretty funny. Which you will soon clearly see is inscribed July 4th, 1776, the day and the year of America's independence. Hey guys, listen up. I've been doing this now for 30 years. And this year is my very last year. Yeah. But still to measure to say these words. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,